The key to this is when you move from time, space, and that identity of a little self into the holy instant that you accept, is that you recognize now the right mind, the Holy Spirit, is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Now he says you need to do nothing. Let me guide you.
Right.
Let me give you the dream. And that's so difficult when you have been spending all of your effort and all of your energy building this so-called life, this so-called world of yours, and protecting this so-called world of yours. And now you lay it down and you move to peace, joy, and happiness by choosing to lay it down. You're still in perception. Perception's still a part of this. So as I perceived myself as guilty, I now perceive myself as innocent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not guilty.
Right. Never
The same perception that I use, the Holy Spirit redefines the power of perception and says, now you use this, what you use to build and sustain this false world, you invite in my reality through that same perception.
Right.
It's called the correction or the healing of the mind,
Right.
or of perception, returning it back to knowing, back to knowledge.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people get confused when the Course says and we say, you need do nothing. You know, they're going to say, of course I've got to do something. I got to go to work. I got to take care. I got to wash the clothes. Okay. But what it's saying, first of all, the key word is need. Okay. You need do nothing, which means you can't be driven by need because you have no needs.
Right.
But secondly, what in the Holy Spirit's dream, in the happy dream, what's wonderful about it is the things you will do, He does for you. In other words, we're sitting here, we're doing something.
Right.
But we're not doing it of our own volition. We're allowing the Holy Spirit to do it.
Right.
And that's where the peace is. That's where the rest is.
Right.
If this becomes a burden, we know we've stepped out of the real world.
Right. Well, I think what I shared the other day with you is key to this. In the real world, it's clear to me to have all, give all, to all.
Mm-hmm.
But over in that self-made world of self-centeredness and selfishness and ego, and I'm in charge of my world, it's this thought: to have all, get all, from all.
Mm-hmm.
That takes effort. That takes work. This
Right.
here is an extending of what you are now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to protect something anymore
Mm-hmm.
because you recognize what your reality is. The only life there is spirit.
Right.
And so now you're extending that.
Right.
But you get to do it for a while through perception. You're still dealing with a body. You're still dealing with personalities. But you're seeing it different. You see beyond that, and you see the reality of the spirit, the reality of the mind, the reality of the soul.
Right. That's the overlooking
Right.
that we're talking about. It's a little prayer here at the end of the lesson. It says, I have no purpose for today except to look upon a liberated world, set free from all the judgments I have made. Father, this is your will for me today, and therefore it must be my goal as well. Now we're going to move back just a few pages to page 443, and this is number 8, and it's called What is the Real World? How appropriate. What is the real world? The real world is a symbol, like the rest of what perception offers, yet it stands for what is opposite to what you made. Your world is seen through eyes of fear and brings the witnesses of terror to your mind. The real world cannot be perceived except through eyes forgiveness blesses, so they see a world where terror is impossible and witnesses to fear cannot be found. Okay, we're talking about two sets of eyes here. These eyes in the body were set forth by fear within the mind
Right.
to send forth a message, and for these eyes and the other senses to have that message returned to the mind to say, I'm right, this is a fearful world.
Right.
I can't give all to all. I've got to protect.
Right.
I'm going to win, so that means somebody else is going to lose.
Absolutely.
And my judgment is only based on how I'm going to adapt to this world and ensure that I'm comfortable.
Right.
And when I say I'm, it's primarily the body.
Right.
You think there's a place where it says that, look at all the things you do. You go to work, you buy stuff. How much of that stuff has to do with making the body comfortable, happy, all those kind of things, what it thinks is happiness anyways. It's the body is the hero of the dream.
Absolutely.
The real world holds a counterpart for each unhappy thought reflected in your world, a sure correction for the sights of fear and sounds of battle which your world contains. So we're looking at, we mentioned eyes, which is talking about ears. Spiritual eyes, spiritual ears, the vision of Christ, the hearing of the voice for God, or the voice from the real world, is giving you a different perception of everything that this world throws at you, that the false world throws at you.
See, the thing is so beautiful about the ministry of the Holy Spirit is that when the mind, choosing the false thought, begin to make a world, time, space, ultimately to personify that thought in a form of body, because this thought produces form on some level. The Holy Spirit, as the mind began to build its world and said, time is for this, it will carry me to my salvation, which is death. Mm-hmm. The Holy Spirit said, no, I'm going to redefine this time thing, and I'm going to make it something good. And what I'm going to do is, time is for waking up. Mm-hmm. And see, the real world is a picture, a counterpart to all that we made.
Right.
So when you look at, instead of seeing all the bad, as you begin to experience the real world, how could you have peace, joy, and happiness unless you could see that it would make you peaceful, joyful, and happy?
Right.
The Course says that there's one goal the Father has for the Son, and that is to be happy. Mm-hmm. This is the ultimate goal.
Right.
So you get to experience happiness in this thing called perception as you experience the real world, knowing that you're moving from perception back to your reality of knowledge.
Right. If the goal of the Son by the Father was our happiness, then if we wanted the opposite of that, then our actual goal in rebelling against the will of God, our wish is to be unhappy.
Right.
And so, again, sending those messengers out, oh, I got the promotion, oh, but then we got laid off, Right. Oh, my investment went up, but the value of my house went down. Right. We're always unhappy. We're never satisfied. There's no satisfaction in this world we made.
The beautiful thing about this is that you move from a dualistic system of thought. What you said, good, bad, up, down, right, left, pretty, ugly. And we move into the real world where you see none of that. Because
it's
none of that
beautiful.
Means anything, because
right.
It's all an illusion. You make no judgments in this real world. Right. The Course says that the final judgment is actually the final comparison. You move from even this thought of judgment, and you realize that I have compared death and life. I've compared the false with the true. I've brought all of this to the altar of reality, and the light has healed my mind.
Right. And all of that disappears.
Disappears.